Today, we're unpacking something a little different. We're looking at a series of interviews from SoulPancake.
Right.
They went out and asked people this one, simple but also huge question. What is one thing everyone should try?
Yeah, and on the surface, it sounds like a pretty standard icebreaker, doesn't it?
Totally.
But what's so fascinating is just the sheer variety in what they got back. I mean, you'd expect, go to Paris or something, but the answers were this incredible mix.
It's a wild spectrum.
Yeah.
You've got suggestions for candy right next to, like jumping off a cliff. But as we look through them, a few clear themes started to emerge.
They definitely fall into a few categories. We saw a lot of sensory exploration, then a big jump to adrenaline seeking, and then this really interesting turn towards internal growth.
Okay, so let's start with the sensory stuff. That feels like the easiest entry point. A lot of it was food, right?
Yeah.
Thai food, sushi, quinoa.
All the expected ones. But the one that really stood out to me was the person who specifically said, naru.
Actually, I had to look that one up. It's a Japanese candy kit, right?
Exactly. It's a DIY thing where you mix these powders with water and it like foams up and changes color.
You just feel so playful. It's a reminder that expanding your horizons doesn't have to be this big, serious thing.
It can be low stakes. But the interviews didn't stay low stakes for long. They escalate pretty quickly from the palate to the whole body.
Into that adrenaline thing you mentioned.
Yeah, things like swimming in really cold water or jumping into a lake off a big rock, that raw physical shock.
And there was a specific angle on it, too, almost like escapism. The person who talked about scuba diving said it felt like being on a completely different planet.
It's about leaving your reality behind. But we have to talk about the difference they drew between bungee jumping and skydiving.
Oh, right, the psychology of it.
The take on bungee jumping was so insightful. It's not just about the fall. It's about that moment you're standing on the edge, and you have to consciously choose to override your most basic survival instinct.
That's so different from skydiving, where you're often, strapped to an instructor who pretty much makes the decision for you.
Right, but the case for skydiving was compelling too. It was all about regret. Don't be 80 years old wishing you'd done it.
That fear of future regret. It's a powerful motivator.
It really is. But this is where the source material takes its most interesting turn. We move from physical fear to psychological fear.
This was my favorite part. It was this idea that facing your fear isn't always about heights or speed. I mean, one person said the one thing to try is making an intimidating phone call.
Which, let's be honest, is way harder for a lot of people than jumping into a cold lake.
So true.
And that same idea was there with the advice to sing on stage. The source described it as a crazy explosion of life, all those nerves and excitement. It's about being vulnerable in public.
And then they took it to the ultimate vulnerability, falling in love.
Yeah, and they were so honest about it, admitting that it may hurt at the end.
But that you have to do it anyway, that's how you grow.
Exactly. Heartbreak is just part of the deal, not a reason to avoid it. And it wasn't all big, scary stuff. There were also these quieter suggestions.
Like meditation. Or just striving to be a kinder person.
Yeah.
Practicing deep listening.
And even just pure joy, letting your hair down and dancing like no one else is there.
So when you pull it all together, the weird candy, traveling outside the U.S., bungee jumping, being kind, what's the common thread?
It's active participation. I mean, all these suggestions, they're just telling you to engage with your life, to not just be a spectator.
Which brings us to this, perfect, funny little twist at the very end of the interviews. Someone actually challenged the whole question.
Yes, with a little help from Star Wars.
The Yoda philosophy.
Do or do not. There is no try.
And it sounds a bit cliche, but in this context, it just lands so perfectly.
It really does. The word try sort of gives you an out. It implies you're leaving room for hesitation, for failure.
Right.
If you just drop that word, you're not trying to experience something. You're just experiencing it. You're committed.
So maybe that's the real takeaway for everyone listening. Don't just put these things on a list to try someday.
Just go do them.
Thanks for diving in with us.